It may not be too surprising that many people in Knoxville are die-hard country music fans, but what is surprising is that Knoxville is home to a radio station that made a huge impact in the industry.
Gunner, it's the ride as always. You know I really do appreciate you listening. The big news in Big Orange Country today.
When WIVK hit the airwaves for the first time in 1953, no one knew just how significant its legacy would become. James Dick was fresh out of college when he bought a 1,000-watt radio signal. A building was purchased on Gay Street where he attached the call letters WIVK. Former employee Mike Hammond describes what the atmosphere was like in its early days.
It was a small station. We had maybe 20 employees, and as a result, it was very family oriented. James Dick, the owner, made it that way. We wanted everybody to get along. He wanted everybody to be successful, and he was just a tremendous mentor to a lot of people.
Well, Jim Dick was like a father. I mean, he really was. I was there 45 years. We all grew up together. It was like, it was honestly just like a family.
Part of the station's success came from hiring on-air personalities such as Claude Tomlinson.
Good morning from Claude, Lester, Old Man Schultz, and the crew of the Great Day Show.
Claude Tomlinson, or Claude the Cat, was the voice of Lester Longmire, Old Man Schultz, and Claude. And a lot of people thought it was three different people because he could almost say the voices at the same time. But it was the most successful morning show in America.
In 1965, WIVK gained the rights to operate as 107.7 FM station. They advertised themselves as 108 FM.
The FM didn't become popular until probably the late 70s or early 80s because up until that point, no one had an FM radio. So the power of the station was still on AM, and AM was a daytime only station. So at night, when the sun went down, it was gone.
This allowed WIVK to broadcast 24 hours a day with a remarkable on-air staff, including Bobby Denton, Dave Young, and Jimmy Vineyard. It wasn't just the staff that turned WIVK into a powerhouse, it was the country music and the big names that got their start there.
Well, we were lucky it was such an important part of country music. You know, it was the #1 country station in the country. So artists wanted to be on WIVK. It was great because that way I got to meet a lot of artists just starting out, like Alabama, Ronnie Millsap, and the list goes on. If somebody wanted to make it in East Tennessee, WIVK was where they had to be.
At the time, the music director could play whatever they wanted to, which drew in new artists that wanted to make it big.
We had a music director, and that was his job, was to choose the best. But then they had no restrictions. In other words, if I liked a certain song by George Strait that was on an album, you answer the phone and see what the people want to hear too. And they have a part in it.
Knoxville also happened to be a convenient location for artists.
Where Knoxville's located, people were coming through all the time. In other words, Merle Haggard would be going to perform somewhere and stop by on his way. It really made it extra special.
For a station that's been around for so long, they've only had 4 morning shows. Their formula lies in finding talent.
The difference between being a voice on the radio and a personality, we wanted personalities, and that's what we were able to get. And we're able to bring in people like Colleen, and then when we had to replace Claude, unfortunately he passed away. Will Heighton-Wall came on, then we had Andy and Allison. So you look at how WIVK over the years has been able to maintain its dominance, and that's the reason, is because we've always looked for personalities, not necessarily voices on the radio.
In 1972, a station mascot was born, WIVK the Frog.
One day, I think it was Dave Young, we were all sitting around talking, and he said, WIVK, 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 and so we did the frog, and that frog became so popular. I mean, people would know it all over the United States.
In the 80s and 90s, WIVK became a powerhouse, and its competition was falling short to its ratings.
We always had a saying that we worked hard and we played hard. We cherished competition, and you could almost feel like the doors were closing whenever we had a new competitor, regardless of what format they were. When we had a new competitor, it was almost like everybody was locked in that building, and we had one thing, and that was to win. you know, those competitions, and that was the thing that was pretty cool about it.
Until recently, WIVK remained the #1 station in the Knoxville market and has won numerous awards for its success. Although a lot has changed over the years, WIVK remains to commit and serve the Knoxville area and its community and to connect with people.
A lot of fun working there, and I go back to that saying, we worked hard and we played hard. When we were successful, we celebrated it. I kind of miss that family.
And even though the future of radio is uncertain, the memories and fun times will never be forgotten. It will always be a family, and it will always be committed to serving the Knoxville area.
Let's get a first check on WIVK airborne traffic. Pete Michaels, how we start now?